What's good, folks? You already know what time it is. We back with another dope episode of Weekly Views live from the bricks. You know, today, whenever y'all see me, y'all know I'm doing this solo, and we taking it back to, I consider, a classic album. Y'all not be familiar with it, but I'm going to take y'all to class. Here we go. So we're going to be talking about Lecrae's, one of his best albums, Anomaly. I know all y'all Lecrae Day 1 fans, which I'm not a Day 1 fan. I'm like a Day 4 fan. I came in Gravity, but I know a lot of y'all like After the Music and Real Talk and Rehab. But I got introduced to Gravity, which I thought the album was trash. But we're going to be talking about Anomaly here. So on September 9th, 2014, Lecrae drops Anomaly. Now, when he dropped this, the rap game went into a frenzy. He sold 88,000 the first week. Now, how does a Christian, quote-unquote Christian rapper that's not on a major record label, he had distribution, but not signed to a major, how does he get the #1 record in the country and it hit on the Billboard 200? That was a good time for that moment. If you remember that, I know it's 10 years ago, but if you remember that time period, that was a big moment for Lecrae and his label Reach Records, because people are already hearing Lecrae's name rumbling in the industry and stuff like that. You know, with the tours they were doing with the Unashamed tour and everything, and then, you know, the units they sold with Andy Mineo and the Trip Lee and Derek Minor and Tadashi. This was before streaming, so people were buying. You had to go buy that album off of iTunes, Google Play, or you had to go buy the physical. So it was definitely a crazy time, if you remember, if you was there. But I want to get into some of the favorite tracks on the album. We're going to started off with Outsiders. Now, the reason I liked Outsider, the title of the album fits Lecrae. You know what I'm saying? It definitely fits him. Anomaly. He was an outsider in the hip-hop industry. A lot of people didn't want to accept him because he talked about his faith. A lot of critics, his fans had turned on him, so he didn't really know what he fit in. The gospel world didn't want to accept him. The mainstream like, well, you too church. So he was definitely an outsider. We're going into Welcome to America. It was a good track. I think Welcome to America probably has to be one of the best tracks on the album, period. I liked it because he was rapping it from the standpoint of three people. You know what I'm saying? He was rapping it from a person from the outside looking in. You know, he's rapping it from a former war veteran, and he's rapping it from a standpoint of a person that is living in the country. One of my favorite parts in the country, where he talks about, you know, he went to war for America and they turned their back on him. You know what I'm saying? Where he talks about, you know, in America, I heard y'all don't pray no more. Y'all ain't saved no more. Y'all looking for another way. There's some definitely good lines on there. So that I'm going to say Welcome to America is probably the best track on the album. Say I Won't, not one of my favorite songs, but it was good. If you feel like bobbing your head, it was definitely a good song. Shout out to Andy Mineo. He did this thing on there. Another one of my favorite tracks, I'm going to have to go with Nothing. Now, the reason I like Nothing, because shout out to Guy who produced the beat. It was sampled from Lunas. I Got 5 on it. And Lecrae is basically calling out all the artists in the industry who are basically ain't talking about nothing. All they want to talk about is drug selling. All they want to talk about is designer clothes. They're not offering no content. When he says they don't tell you about the bond money that they have, and everybody snitch on everybody in the gym. You know, he's like, basically, y'all talk about selling drugs, but y'all don't want to talk about the other side. So I really appreciated that. Now, we're going to kick into another good song. I'll probably be the second best song on the album. It is Fear. Now, this is the song Lecrae is clapping back to all his critics. You know, this was a time when if a lot of y'all remember 2012, Lecrae comes out and says, I don't want to be a Christian rapper. I want to be a rapper that's Christian. So it caused a lot of issues with his Day 1 fans. A lot of them, you know, saying he sold out, saying he sold his soul. Why is he going over to the secular side? So he definitely kind of, you know, that was a clapback moment in there. In the one of the lines, most rememberable lines in there when he says, Jesus, 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 to all of my haters. For the ones that thought I forgot them and the ones that won't let me say them, I ain't scared no more. It was like everybody will always say, I miss when Lecrae rapped about Jesus. He don't talk about the Lord no more. And then there was other people that basically told him, and if you go back to his song "Go Hard" featuring Tadashi, I forgot what year where that came out, but that was on the Rebel album, where he talks about like they were telling him he could sell a lot of records if he watered down his faith. Which, in hindsight, which he kind of did. He did kind of water down his music, but I get it. He was trying to grow as an artist. We're going to talk about All I Need Is You. Now, if you got a special love, a female out there, there's definitely a good. I think that song should have been bigger than what it was, but it did pretty good. It did get some radio play. It didn't get no major radio push, but I thought that was a good song. I think Broken was another good song on the album. I like that better than Messengers. I felt like that song should have been the last track on the album. You know what I'm saying? But I like Broken because when he says, regardless of our pride, we are broke together. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about basically like just a lot of good stuff on that album, so on that song. So if you go back and listen to Broken, I liked Anomaly because it's the title track. It was definitely a good track on there. And shout out to J. Paul on the chorus as well. And we're closing it out with Messengers. Now Messengers was a good song. That was more pop-ish for the CCM crowd. You know what I'm saying? If y'all watching this, like, what is CCM? CCM is Christian contemporary music. It's basically top 40 Christian music, you know, pop, rock and stuff. So that was for that crowd. So I get it. He definitely went on a lot of tours because of that song. And I believe he won a Grammy off of that. Now, another special moment about this album was the tour. The tour kicked off on October 2nd, 2014. Was 26 cities. I actually had the pleasure of going to see the show in San Antonio when they came here at the Tobin Center. And that's when I realized that Lecrae was a big artist because this dude sold out now it was not no arena, but the Tobin Center it fits like thousands and thousands of people. And that man had the floor, from the floor to the top. I think it had like 3 rows at the top. I'm not too familiar, but that thing was sold out. And I'm like, wow, and this dude's not on the radio? And he's selling out concerts better than a lot of rappers at that time. So this was definitely a special moment for, you know, I think Lecrae's career. And I feel like this is one of his best albums. Just the production, some of the songs, and also, like I said, the album sales, because I don't think we're gonna see a time like this, especially for like a Christian artist besides NF, who's gonna get a #1 album on the billboards, especially because now with the streaming and stuff like that. So it was definitely a special time. It was definitely a time to remember, and it's coming up on the 10-year anniversary because this album came out 10 years ago. And also got to give credit to the team at Reach Records. Reach Records has always been one of my favorite record labels, period, because independent, but they work like they're in a major, you know what I'm saying, in a major system. So shout out to Lecrae for this album. Shout out to all the producers on it. Gavi, I think Dirty Rice had his hands on there. Tyshan. I don't want to name all the producers on there because I might get something wrong. But this was an overall good album, man. And I'm going to say this is his best album, and I'll argue with any of y'all about that in the comments. But look, man, this is your man Jay Ross. This is Weekly Views, and I'm out.